Before I get started, I need to read a copyright notice. All diagrams, illustrations, and pictures were downloaded from the web. You may not use any materials within this presentation for commercial use. Proprietary rights are reserved for the original authors. Slight changes were made in some materials for illustration purposes. You may go to creativecommons.org for full details. Also, any distribution or usage of this presentation for the purpose of authorship is strictly forbidden in accordance with Asgardia COC. For use of this presentation and any contents within, please request permission from the author. Thank you for your cooperation. A futuristic approach to education. Hello, my name is John Fine, and this is a photo of me, my lovely wife, and my daughter. I'm currently retired military, working as a U.S. contractor, and am a CEO of a nonprofit in the United States. I have 13 years experience in different forms of education, 10 as an instructor in the U.S. Army, 2 as a high school teacher, auto technology instructor, and 1 as a substitute teacher. I also oversee the education department for my nonprofit. As a father of 6 children, education is very important to me. I believe everyone deserves quality education, and there should be a realistic way for them to achieve a quality education. My goal is to be able to assist all Asgardians in receiving an education that will advance them into the 21st century and beyond. Asgardia is a new nation needing a new approach to education. Using the combined efforts of specialists around the world, the Asgardia holistic education system will be able to advance Asgardia into the 21st century and beyond. The goal of the AHES is to give Asgardia a realistic goal of achieving a universal education system that does not discriminate access to education and learning objectives due to circumstances outside the control of individuals, such as gender, birthplace, ethnicity, religion, language, income, wealth, location, comprehension, or disabilities. Asgardia is the first digital nation that will remain so for many years to come. Our citizens have very diverse cultures, practices, needs, traditions, religions, mannerisms, ideologies, education systems, governments, skill levels, and beliefs. With this kind of diversity, we must have an education system that addresses these issues. To do otherwise would create division and disunity and would violate the dignity of the individual. This system would have to be built on real-world knowledge from a universal approach. The AHES is such an approach. It acknowledges every aspect concerning education and addresses the diversity of a worldly education system. This creation and implementation of a futuristic universal approach will prepare youth and adults for an accelerating 21st century by expanding traditional education methods with a broader approach that focuses not only on structured core competencies, but allows equal development in temperament, self-views, reasoning, emotion, physical, interpersonal, transpersonal, character, and citizenship. At the same time, the system must also be able to address the needs of handicapped and special needs individuals. Finally, we must have a system that partners with current worldly systems who have already addressed the issues of education throughout the world and compiled reports in collaboration with many nations that give a clear understanding of the educational direction, evaluation, accountability, and sustainable developmental goals. In developing the Asgardia holistic education system, I primarily used the work from a study published by the Canadian Science and Education Center, International Education Studies, Volume 5, Number 2, April 2012. In this study, 4 professors of psychology combined the work of professors, scholars, and advisors from all over the world concerning holistic education. They concluded that holistic education addresses the broadest development of the whole person at the cognitive and affective levels. It aims for the fullest possible human development enabling a person to become the very best or finest that they can be and develop fully those capacities that together make up a human being. From this study, I adopted four key areas into the AHES. They are the six causes of holistic education, the four pillars of holistic education, the five levels of wholeness, and the 10 basic principles of holistic education. The six causes or the basis for a Asgardia holistic education system are perennial philosophy, multiple forms of reality. People experience different realities. Indigenous worldviews. Humans are interconnected. What affects one may affect all. Life philosophy. Universal life processes. All humans go through the basics of life and have same basic needs. Ecological worldview. Ecological literacy. Environmental issues. Our environment affects us all. Systems theory. Interdependence of all things. We are more dependent to each other and the planet than we realize. Feminist theory. Caring relations and partnership education. Feminist thought. Equal rights. Achieve political, economic, personal, and social equality of all sexes. The AHES, four pillars of holistic learning are learning to learn, paying attention, perceiving, listening, curiosity, intuitiveness, creativity, taking responsibility of one's learning. Learning to do, resolving problems, rational decision making, teamwork, risk taking, take initiative, quality work ethic. Learning to live together, learning to live responsibly, respecting and cooperating with others, overcoming prejudice, dogmatism, discrimination, authoritarianism, and stereotypes. Learning to be, discovery of true human nature, essence of oneself, inner wisdom, intellectual, development of critical thinking skills, interdependent judgment, personal commitment and responsibility. The word holistic comes from a Greek word meaning wholeness. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. There are five levels of wholeness in the AHES. They are the whole person, integral being, with six essential elements: physical, emotional, intellectual, social, artistic, and spiritual. Students are not perceived as a brain that must be programmed, but rather as a whole being. Wholeness and community, human relationships, stimulating learning, community, learning how to establish appropriate human relationships as an objective of education. Wholeness in society, nations' ideological and economic dimensions, goals imposed on society, recognizing social crisis, and educating people for world citizenship and participatory democracy. The whole planet, or a whole planet, recognizing environmental crisis, global awareness, and respect for nature. The holistic cosmos. Complete context gives meaning to our being, in touch with ourselves, awakening, universal love, unconditional freedom, brotherhood, peace, and compassion. Lastly, the 10 basic principles of AHES are human development. Primary purpose is to nourish inherent possibilities of human development, develop the whole person, deepen relationships to self, family, community, global community, the planet, and the cosmos. Honor individuality. Each learner is unique, inherently creative, with individual needs and abilities. Create a sense of tolerance, respect, appreciation of diversity, and an unlimited capacity to learn. Central role of experience. Learning is an active, multisensory engagement between the learner, the teacher, the parent, the coach or advisor, the professor, and the world at large. This mutual contact empowers the learner through growth and experience. Holistic education. Wholeness implies that each academic discipline provides merely a different perspective on the rich, complex, integrated phenomenon of life. New role of educators, facilitators of learning of an organic natural process. Teachers require the autonomy to design and implement learning environments that are appropriate to the needs of the student. Freedom of choice. Students and parents have opportunities for real choice at every stage of learning. Atmosphere of freedom. Natural progression determines pathway. Educating for a participatory democracy. Education is based on democratic values and empowers citizens to participate in meaningful ways in life, community, and the planet. Global citizenship. Appreciation for the magnificent diversity of the human experience, connected to a global community, interchanging global ideals, cultures, beliefs, learning objectives, potential, science, and technology. Earth literacy. Education promotes awareness and reverence for all life and promotes a healthy relationship between humans and the natural world, recognizes the complexity of Earth and how we are connected. And finally, spirituality and education. Individuality expressed through talents, abilities, intuition, and intelligence. A deep connection to self and others, a sense of meaning, purpose, and to truly know oneself. A strengthened relationship to others, our environment, the planet, and the universe. Balance and wholeness. The word holistic was coined in 1926 by General J.C. Smuts and is based on the Greek root word holus, which means whole. Today, this word is used in a wide variety of meanings and areas, such as health, science, technology, religion, education, business, agriculture, leadership, and so forth. The learner's meaning of holistic from the Webster Learner's Dictionary is relating to or concerned with complete systems rather than with individual parts. This basically means that whenever a holistic approach is used in education, it's being used to educate the whole person in all areas that will affect their life and not just in academics. AHES will have 7 holistic approaches integrated into the system. These approaches will be available and used where and when needed. They will also have different levels and stages of growth where each may apply. The learner and their support team will determine which approaches best fit the individual. However, these systems already have integrated ideologies from the other systems. By taking the best from the best, you create a sustainable future. Integrating these systems together will give us a universal approach that will meet the demands of a diverse nation, as in Asgardia. This will also allow us to grow into the desired structure we need for space. The approaches are holistic technology approach, focuses on the interdependence of system components. To know things is to know things in relation. To know a part is to know how it connects with the whole, combined with Bloom's taxonomy theory. Holistic agricultural approach. Farming for sustainability requires a holistic approach to farm planning and management. One must understand the greater whole in order to understand its parts and how everything is connected. Environments, waste, food, animals, and resources. Holistic leadership approach addresses analytical, conceptual, emotional, and spiritual domains of leadership, practice, and development in relation to the whole person. Holistic Waldorf approach, a philosophy of education based in teaching children and what is required to enable them to grow up to become true individuals with inner strength, intellectual capacity, adaptability, empathy for humanity and environment, sound judgment, the willpower to put ideals into practice. Holistic Montessori approach emphasizes on interdependence, freedom within limits, and respect for a child's natural, psychological, and social development. Holistic STEAM approach, restructuring learning environments to provide project-based learning environments in science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics that give students access points for guiding student inquiry, dialogue, and critical thinking. Holistic Reggio Emilia approach, a philosophy rather than a rigid system to both teaching and learning, based on the principle of learning by doing, emphasizes hands-on discovery learning that allows the use of senses in all languages of learning, applied mostly to preschool and early childhood, co-learner approach. Some Asgardians may be wondering why I adopted holistic approaches like agriculture, leadership, STEAM, science and technology interpreted through engineering and the arts, all based in mathematical elements, and technology. The reason is simple. These are all areas that will have direct impact on Asgardia and its ability to transfer into space. Agriculture will play a big role in space. Therefore, it is essential we create learning objectives to address this issue. Here is a slide to help explain all the areas that we would need to address. In this slide, integrated farming. This is the agriculture slide. As you can see here, you got climate change and air quality, organization and planning, human social human and social capital, energy efficiency, water use and protection, soil management, crop nutrition, crop health and protection, animal husbandry and health and welfare, landscape, nature conservation, waste management, and pollution control. These are all areas that will affect Asgardia at one point in time. Leadership is key to any organization. We must prepare Asgardians to be leaders. By integrating holistic leadership into our education system, we will enhance the quality of life for all Asgardians and prepare our nation for a sustainable future. This slide shows how holistic leadership works. You can see in this slide, this is what gives us our sustainability leaders. They empower themselves to take responsibility, look for holistic interconnections, convey authentic conversations, understand that creative tensions hold potential for breakthrough thinking, recognize that outcomes unfold in complex dynamics, notice and attend to human dynamics of transformative change, experiment, reflect, learn, adjust, and share. Ground themselves in personal integrity. STEAM is a new concept developed in the United States. It combines the elements of STEM, a approach used in the U.S. education system, and adds a fifth element of the arts. This is truly an amazing approach that will add value to a Asgardia education system. This will also give Asgardians the structure they need to advance to space and allow visionaries, explorers, and inventors to overcome the gap that currently prohibits long-term space habitation. This slide gives a perception of how STEAM works. As you can see in this slide, we have our pyramid of STEAM framework. At the top of the pyramid, we have our lifelong holistic approach, which is STEAM itself. It's integrative. Then we have STEM, which gives us our science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They added a fifth element of the arts. This gives our content specific, which is all of our different areas of learning, such as physics, biology, sociology, psychology, chemical, mining, communication, transportation, information, areas such as these. Finally, technology. Well, to be an advanced nation, we must have advanced technology. Therefore, integrating a holistic technology approach combined with Bloom's taxonomy into our educational system can only be beneficial and help us reach our futuristic goals. This slide explains holistic technology approach combined with Bloom's taxonomy. The areas in white are the areas that cover the holistic technology approach. The areas with color are areas that cover Bloom's taxonomy. I will read three areas of this pyramid: knowledge, application, and evaluation. Knowledge is recall of information, discovery, observation, listening, locating, and naming. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis, reason, understanding, using and applying knowledge, using problem-solving methods, manipulating, designing, experimenting, use of knowledge gained, theoretical, practical, self-regulatory, know how, and know why. In evaluation, creating from worldly perspectives that address economics, environments, resources, social, and human factors. Assessing theories, comparison of ideals, evaluating outcomes, solving, judging, recommending, and of course rating. These are all interconnected, they're evolving, and ongoing. By integrating these approaches, we mix the best tasting holistic education system to move us beyond the 21st century and create sustainability. The Asgardia holistic education system will have six primary areas for its framework. These areas are essential in creating a sustainable, universal education system that will properly address the diversity of Asgardia citizens. These areas are 21st century student outcomes and support systems. This is 21st century student outcomes and support systems. As you can see in the top, you have your learning and innovative skills, the 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. You have your life and career skills. You have your core subjects, the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And of course, the 21st century themes. Over here, you have your information, media, and technology skills. These are all set on a foundation of standards and assessments, curriculum and instruction, professional development, and learning environments. Number 2, Core Curriculum Matrix, CCM. This is our core curriculum matrix. In the top of the matrix, we have our holistic curriculum, which is information communication technology, languages, social and environmental sciences, mathematics, performing arts, visual aids, value-based education, and of course, leadership. Over in this column On the left, we have our traditional core curriculum areas: written composition, humanities and fine arts, natural sciences and mathematics, history, social, and behavioral sciences. And on the right side, we have our core competencies: reading and writing skills sufficient to ensure access to information and ideals, and ability to make anesthetic judgments in arts, literature, and humanities, the ability to collect and evaluate information within the context of the scientific method, the ability to apply mathematical skills and quantitative reasoning, the ability to reason and evaluate information within the context of the social behavioral sciences, knowledge of contemporary and/or historical issues. Number three, digital literacy, DL. In digital literacy, we have functional skills, creativity, critical thinking and evaluation, cultural and social understanding, collaboration, the ability to find and select information, effective communication, and of course, e-safety. Number four, holistic education development, HED. In holistic development, we have physical and gross motor, fine motor, sensory, self-help, language, cognitive, emotional, social, and of course, spiritual. Number five, holistic model, HM. Holistic model, we have emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. This will be our center of excellence. On the outside of that, we have individuals, networks, organizations, communities. Under emotional, we have ethical practices, balanced approaches, positive energy, overcoming challenges. Mental, research and development, strategic planning, reflection and assessment, internal development. Under physical, we have action, dialogue, and collaboration, providing aid and receiving, building relationships. Under spiritual, we have learning and integrating, interconnectedness, respecting the unknown, and of course, diverse worldviews. A model applying a holistic approach must serve to vision a sense of balance within its structure, processes, and outcomes. The development of a collaborative working environment, mutually agreed processes, a safe space to explore alternative ideals and learn new information creates a dynamic, sustainable forum which can benefit a variety of users depending on their particular needs. Number six, Holistic Developmental Goal, HDG. In the Holistic Developmental Goal, this is what Asgardians have learned: their knowledge, their skills, and their attitudes and values. Knowledge, we have disciplinary knowledge, interdisciplinary knowledge, practical knowledge. Then in the skills, we have cognitive and metacognitive skills, social and emotional skills, physical and practical skills. Under attitudes and values, we have emotional and mental values, spiritual values, and of course, physical values. This gives us our competencies. They're all wound together to give us our action. Our world is changing rapidly. It is becoming more digital than industrial. Technologies are replacing the workforce, leaving many without the necessary resources for their well-being. AHES must address this issue and prepare a framework that will solve current 21st century educational issues and advance Asgardia into a sustainable future. The CSOSS is designed with the sustainable developmental goals of an international community. The CCM enhances traditional educational curriculum with holistic educational curriculum to give us our core competencies. With CCM, we create our knowledge and skills in the HDG framework. Since Asgardia is a digital nation, it must have digital literacy, DL. The AHES will initially be a digital system. It will start home-based, then expand to computer labs most likely located in Asgardia embassies. When we finally do reach space, the AHES will most likely remain digital, but may be housed in a classroom environment. Digital is definitely the way of the future. So for Asgardia to be prepared, we must have DL. DL will also create knowledge and skills in the HDG framework. The holistic education development are developmental areas of the learner. Using the AHES, the learner will achieve progressive development in education and enhance their skill levels. The holistic model gives a collaborating worldly overview of what the AHES will achieve in attitudes and values. Finally, Holistic Development Goal, HDG, pulls everything together so we achieve our sustainable developmental goals. The Scardia Holistic Education System will have 6 secondary areas for its framework. These areas are essential in creating a sustainable universal education system that will properly address the diversity of Asgardia citizens and give us the desired effect in learning, competencies, implementation, planning, and design, management, accountability, and partnerships. These areas are Learning Support Team. All great systems must have great support teams. The AHES is no exception. The big difference is our system, our support team, will be co-learners. They will work in collaboration with the learner as a team. This way, relationship becomes just as important as education does. As you can see here, you have your parent, life coach, teacher, advisor, professor, and fellow learners. All of these are your support team, all working together with the learner. Key learner competencies. The AHES will have 5 levels of competencies that will be achieved by the learner, although each individual will achieve at their own pace. At the end of the HDG, learners will achieve core curriculum competencies, holistic curriculum competencies, digital competencies, science, space, engineering, technology competencies, environment, global, and cosmos competencies. All these within the HDG framework. Number 3, implementation phases. The implementation phases are Phase 1, 1 to 5 years, governmental approval, research and development, planning, review, and implementation. Phase 2, 5 to 10 years, Asgardia University, physical university, computer labs, assessments, evaluations, and review. Apply changes where needed. Phase 3, 10 to 30 years, assessments, evaluations, review, research and development for transfer to space, planning for transfer to space, and of course, transfer the AHES to space. These phases will change as time progresses and as Asgardia advances. This is just a rough overview of the 3 phases that we will go through. Number 4, curriculum planning and design. As you can see here in the curriculum planning and design, we start out with gather course design resources, create course philosophy and aims, Then you design the modules. Then create program specification. Then course approval. And of course, always validation. Number 5, management and accountability system. The management and accountability system for the HES is as follows. You have your grand plan and your global partnerships. They go into an education act, then down to the education ministry, then down to curriculum and planning, then down to curriculum and design, then down to syllabus, rubric, standards, guides, and qualifications, then down to the educators and their strategic planning, then down to the materials, the media, and the technology. The educators will work into this box here. The materials, media, and technology will work into this box. And the education ministry will work into this box as well. In here we have our primary and secondary framework, our learner development, our professional development, academic and non-academic areas, manuals and computers, or computer programs, procedures, documentation, balanced scorecard, evaluations, assessments, transparency, and of course communication. As you can see, the system is always working in each other. That way you never lose accountability and you never lose management. Everything's flowing into each other and continuously flowing. That way we never lose. Number 6, holistic education global partnerships. In order to ensure a smooth transition into a holistic education system, it is important to partner with organizations that have already done the legwork towards a worldly holistic approach. The UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, is a good start. They focused in key areas of education that address the current paradigm concerning world education systems and give feasible approaches to education that will unite nations in a collaborative process towards a world education partnership. The key holistic educational areas are sustainable developmental goals, assessments and evaluations, accountability. Other partnerships may include OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, PISA, Program for International Student Assessment, TIMSS, Trends in International Mathematics and Science Study, PEARLS, Progress in International Reading Literacy Study, ESA, European Initiative for Sustainable Development in Agriculture, STEAM, Science and Technology interpreted through engineering and the arts, all based in mathematical elements, About Leaders University, online educational platforms and programmers, and of course many more. My wife Janet will speak on SDG, A&E, and accountability for this portion of the presentation.
Hi, my name is Janet, and I'm pleased to meet everyone. My educational background spans over 24 years. I'm an educator for both regular and special education children. I have also been a department chair, 504 chair, SST chair, and a learning support specialist. Education has always been my passion, and I'm always looking for new, innovative, research-based initiatives in education to better support my classroom. Teaching the whole child should be a teacher's first responsibility in any classroom. We are to ensure our children are prepared for the 21st century and beyond. The new 2030 agenda for the Sustainable Development and its indicator framework set a high standard for the national and international information systems. Monitoring the implementation of the progress towards the multiple components of the standard alone for the standalone education goal, Sustainable Development Goal, SDG 4, requires quality data, defining the standards of quality data production and assessing the quality of data for this purpose are challenges underlying the national and international monitoring mechanisms alone already in place. In particular, what changes need to occur and by whom are critical questions to obtaining viable cross-nationally comparable data on education. During the process of developing indicators and producing data, countries and advisory groups call for transparency and appropriate documentation of statistical processes. The UNESCO Institute for Statistics, the UIS, and its partner agencies are major contributors in terms of data collection, indicator development, and strengthening of national data systems for quality monitoring of the SDG 4. Given the gap between national statistical capacities and the stringent set of expectations for quality data production, the UIS is providing national stakeholders with the methodologies and instruments they need to face the monitoring challenge of the SDG 4 agenda. The aim of the OECD's Education 2030 Future of Education and Skills Project is to support countries in finding answers to far-reaching questions. What knowledge, skills, attitude, and values will today's students need to thrive and shape their world in 2030? How can instructional systems develop such knowledgeable skills, attitudes, and values effectively? The goal is to explore the bigger picture and the longer-term challenges facing education through the development of a conceptual learning framework for 2030 and making the process of curriculum design more evidence-based and systematic through an international curriculum analysis. OECD Education 2030 works with countries, thought leaders, experts, school networks, school leaders, teachers, students, and social partners, and aims to help stakeholders within the education system to effectively implement curriculum reform. The project allows stakeholders to exchange ideas, learn from and compare best practices, and contribute to creating a new learning ecosystem. The OECD Education 2030 focuses on secondary education as a starting point for recognizing the importance of the learning progression across grade levels and lifelong learning. Why accountability matters. Accountability. Despite strong progress in education, there are significant challenges to achieving the global education goal, the SDG 4. Children cannot read after several years of school in sub-Saharan Africa. Examination pressure is having an impact on gender gaps in China. The excess focus on education on employability is being questioned in Germany. Decentralization is posing challenges for underfunded rural schools in Pakistan. Low-quality private universities are proliferating in Paraguay. Refugee children have severely constrained education chances, especially those fleeing war in the Syrian Arab Republic. Faced with education challenges, the public wants to know who is responsible, and policymakers look for urgent solutions. Increased accountability often tops the list. When systems fail, people call for someone to be held responsible and for mechanisms to be in place and ensure corrective action. What is accountability? Whom does it involve? Accountability is a process aimed at helping actors meet responsibilities and reach goals. Individuals or institutions are obliged on the basis of legal, political, social, or moral justification to provide an account of how they met clearly defined responsibilities. But reaching SDG 4 is often a collective enterprise. Ensuring inclusive, equitable, and good quality education requires all actors to make a concerted effort to meet their responsibilities. Accountability, therefore, does not easily rest with single actors. For instance, schools may be responsible for providing supportive learning environments, but to deliver on this They rely on government providing resources, teachers respecting professional norms, and students behaving appropriately. Increasingly, however, voices call for holding people accountable for outcomes beyond their control. Individuals cannot be held accountable for an outcome that also depends on the actions of others. What does an effective accountability system look like? Everyone has a role to play in improving education. Student movements have often swayed policies on equitable and affordable education. The media plays a key role in investigating wrongdoing and reporting corruption, and civil society support can be crucial. But accountability starts with governments. They are ultimately the primary duty barriers of the right to education. A credible education plan is the basis for accountability. It should have clear targets and lines of responsibility and allocate resources through transparent budgets that can be tracked and queried. Policy processes must be open to broad and meaningful consultation. Transparency of information is vital to make accountability work. Independent checks and balances help hold governments to account. Legal and regulatory routes to accountability are the backbone of a well-functioning state. AHES Global Partnership Summary. By aligning the AHES with the objectives of the UNESCO and the OECD Development Goal 4 and Education 2030, we create the proper assessments and evaluations to ensure a sustainable future in education. Using the resources of these partnerships ensures a proper accountability framework is achieved, a sustainable development goal is achieved, and the diversity of a whole education system is recognized for all learners so that we achieve a holistic framework in education. This way, we create a sustainable education system that works for everyone no matter what their situation may be and allows us to progress into the 21st century and beyond. Thank you. Now my husband will finish the presentation.
With a holistic education system, we will turn this into this. This is the end of our presentation, and we thank you for your support. If you believe this education system will work well for Asgardia, then let your district parliament representative know you wish for them to support it. If you would like a list of works cited or any information presented, send inquiries to johnfined13@gmail.com. We thank you. This slideshow was pre-recorded. Please send any questions to johnfined13@gmail.com or leave a comment in the Discord forum comment area. They will be answered as soon as possible. And you all have a great night. Hello, Asgardians. Let's go and let's get them. Thank you.